To explore the separator component, we're going to need some sort of context here. So let's have a Q-card and then a Q-card section inside of there. And this is going to be a title. So you could have here card title. And then I'll copy paste that down and then just type in the word lorem here and then press tab so that we get some fake text. So there we go. We've got a card title and a body here. But in this case, I kind of want a line in between that shows that these are separate sections. Because at the moment, the padding just feels a little bit much here, and it doesn't feel like the two Q card sections work nicely in this scenario. So let's come in here and say Q-separator. And there we go. Now the padding makes a little bit more sense, and it helps separate these two bits of content out. That's a really good example of where you would use Quasar's Q-separator component. So let's explore this a little bit more. We can say inset, which is going to add a little bit of margining on either side of our separator. Another thing we can do is say size to make it a little bit bigger. So for example, 8 pixels. And there we go. Now we've got a wider separator. Another thing we can do is change the color. So I might keep that size and say the color is equal to black. There we go. We have total control over the color as well. Another thing we can do is make it vertical. So a lot of people don't know this, but you can actually have a vertical, or really it's a horizontal card with Quasar. If we say Q-card-section, and then we say, hey, I want this section to be horizontal. In other words, instead of going title, body, I want to say title on the left and then body on the right. So to do that, we can say horizontal, and then inside of this Q card section, we add another Q card section. And then in here, we can say card title. And then after the title, we can then have some lorem ipsum. So this is pretty much the same example, but we have wrapped all of this inside of its own Q card section with the horizontal prop. And that's what's made this work. Now, once again, I kind of want a separator in here. So now we can say Q-separator. And by default, of course, that won't work because this is going to be a horizontal separator. Now let's make it vertical. And there we go. Now we get a vertical separator that works when you have a horizontal card. Pretty cool stuff. So let's go through a couple more examples to finish up this video. How about a Q-toolbar? And then we can say class is equal to full width to make sure it takes up the full width, and background-secondary. There we go. We've got a basic toolbar. And inside of that toolbar, I'm going to have a title for it. So let's say Q-toolbar-title, and we'll set it equal to my toolbar. All right, this is looking good. I might say class is equal to text-white. And what else can we do? Now I want to add some buttons on the right side here, and we're going to use the separator to show a separation between those buttons. So we can come in here and say Q-button. I'll make it flat, and then let's set the label equal to 1. There we go. And we probably also want it to be white. So can we say color white here? Yes, we can. And let's copy paste that down a couple of times. This one is going to be label 2, and this will be label 3. And there we go. We've got 3 buttons, 1, 2, and 3. Now I want these to stretch to the top, so I can go here, Alt-click, Enter, and then say stretch. And that just means that when we hover this, that highlight in the background is going to stretch all the way to the top because this button is now taking up all of the height. So that's kind of cool. This is how you would use a Q button inside of a toolbar. Now I want to add separators between 1 and 2 and 2 and 3. So I can do that by clicking there, Alt-clicking here, Enter, Q-separator. And of course, these need to be vertical as well. Vertical. And there we go. Separator inside of a Q toolbar. Now the last example I'll give is using a list. So let's get rid of this toolbar and we'll say Q-list, Q-item inside of there, arrow right, Q-item-section, tab, and there we go. We've got an item with an item section. Now I can say 1, because that's going to be my first item. And so I can see the list, I'm going to say here, bordered. And there we go. Here's our very basic list. Next, I'll select this item, copy, paste it down a couple of times, and then we'll say 2 and 3. There we go. Now what we could do is we could say separator here, and that's going to add in separators. But the problem with this is it means we have a separator after every list item. But if we want to group list items by removing separators, so for example, we might want to group 2 and 3 by removing this separator here, well, we can't do that anymore because we've basically said, hey, I want you to have a separator everywhere. So let's get rid of that. So we've gotten rid of the separators. And now we can come down here and say Q-separator. And there we go. Now we just have a separator sitting after the first item. And then these two are kind of grouped together. So that's kind of cool. And this is pretty much it for the Q-separator component. Hope you enjoyed this one. I certainly enjoyed making it for you. And I'll see you in the next video.